movie called Black or White with Kevin Costner. I was looking for adoption movies or adoption themed movies, and this came up and I was like, Kevin Costner, okay, fantastic, let's go. And there is no adoption in this movie. So I don't know how it got on that list. I do know how that got on that list, because if you see the movie poster, which we will put here, your first thought will be adoption. But that's, not how it is. So, so the movie starts, and it's, now let's call him a middle-aged guy, and his wife's died, and he has to take care of his granddaughter. Okay, and the granddaughter is middle-aged guy is Kevin Costner, so he's as white as lilies, and the granddaughter has huge, fantastic hair. That is also a point in the movie, and much joy is had. And she's mixed race, black and white. And so then I'm like, okay, if this is not, this is the grandfather. So there's what adoption? There is no adoption. He's not going to give her away. He's the grandfather, and there's other family. So what? No adoption. Forget the adoption thing. It was disturbing me watching this movie that I was expecting this, and you don't get that. So no, this is not a movie about adoption. It's about family. Adoption is also about family, but this one is not about adoption. And so you have this little 7-year-old girl, and she's just plain living her life with her grandparents. And yes, you can do that, but you have to kind of bring a backstory with that. In 2014 is, why would a little girl be living with her grandparents? There has to be a story. So usually you got two parents, you have to get rid of both of them in the story. That's not easy. So one is dead and the other is a deadbeat dad. The dead part I have a bit of a problem with.
I'm sure they do too.
Yeah, but okay, it does happen. And to illustrate that this is legitimate, my neighbor is a middle-aged woman who is in fact taking care of the grandchildren in her home, and her husband has died. So these situations do happen. I have never asked her how, because that's rude. She's my neighbor. If she wants to tell me, she'll tell me. So it is a legitimate scenario. But the thing is, truth is stranger than fiction. For fiction you have to explain stuff. So it takes a long while. Oh yeah, question.
Is it that this movie thinks that it has already enough plots that it doesn't need to actually add to the plot by explaining why the situation is?
There is plot.
I mean, they could not be right, but
yeah.
Is that what the movie thinks it's doing?
Well, so you're skipping basically to my subject of what kind of movie is this, rather than this is just the premise of the plot. There's more to it because there's the other grandmother, but that is pivotal to the plot. But if we skip to what kind of movie is this, is my problem with it. It is an art house movie that is mainstream Hollywood, or it is a mainstream Hollywood movie that accidentally became art house. And therefore, I'm like, who's gonna watch it? It's almost like it is such a down-to-earth story. You don't normally go to the cinema anymore for the down-to-earth stories. You get them on your streaming media. You get long series, but you also get standalone TV movies. And standalone TV movies have traditionally always been about life. Difficulties in life, what people deal with, and that you don't need to put on the big screen. Like something like About a Boy, but About a Boy was more cinematographical because you had London as a feature. And there was quite a bit of humor in it, in that sense that the drama was heightened and the humor was a bit heightened over normal life. And but this one is very normal life. And
About a Boy is not Hollywood.
Yeah, no, but it is a feature movie, a major motion picture.
It's a British movie, so it doesn't fit in the Hollywood budgeting. It doesn't fit in the Hollywood.
Well, this doesn't fit in the Hollywood budgeting either, because
it has Kevin Costner in it.
Yeah, so you have the 2-time Academy Award winning Kevin Costner. Yes, but you also have 2-time Academy Award nominee and 1-time winner Octavia Spenser, who did Hidden Figures, and she's also in just found out she's in a TV series, I think called The First Self-Made Millionaire, that I desperately have to watch now because she's awesome. And I'm really looking forward to that, because apparently it's about black women's hair in the, I'm guessing, the 1920s onwards. So that's going to be super interesting. But she's great. She is awesome. They also said that they had one person on their wish list to play this role and it was her. And they went to her, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm doing that." It is a great role. Conceptually, this is a great movie, except that it is not cinematographical enough to be a major motion picture feature movie. So you end up in art houses, I think, or you go to streaming media. And in 2014, that may have been a massive problem, because from 2020 onwards, obviously everybody went to streaming media the moment they could, or they make a massive deal out of cinema only. And this movie wouldn't have made that cut.
So what was the budget?
Oh, yeah, the budget was 9 million.
That's not Hollywood money.
Their takings was 21 million.
That's good.
So it's not tripled. It's 2.5 times.
In 2011, Woody Allen made Midnight in Paris for 17 million. Yeah. And you could see it was short on money.
Yeah. But they filmed on location in Paris.
Okay.
This was filmed on location in vaguely California.
9 million for a movie, budget for a movie in 2014 is laughable.
Yeah. Well, you can make a really nice art house movie out of that. And
a Hallmark movie.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is if they had sold it to a major streaming network, they would have gotten a lot of people. I mean, if this had been sold to Netflix, was it 2014 that we have Netflix yet? I have no idea. But if they had said, okay, let's put this thing on Netflix, let's market the heebie-jeebies out of it, I think that would have been a massive seller, because once I was off my expectation about it being an adoption movie, it was not. I was like, oh, of course. And we can have another picture here, or possibly the poster again. And of course, it's about race. This movie is about race. Ding! It's called Black or White. Of course it's about race. I hadn't twigged, because I was like, it's just called Black or White. You see the girl, you see him, and you're like, yeah, sure, okay. So my experience of American movies that are about like family life usually have a problem in it, otherwise you don't have a movie. And usually it ends up in court. So this one ends up in court. Not only that, most of the movie is about them coming back to that court case, because it's a custody battle. His wife dies at the beginning of the movie, no bones about it, and that's exactly art house. The moment you get into that movie, unless this is an action movie, which it's not, you only have a scene like that. He's standing there in the hospital, he has his phone, and he's just reacting. That's art house. It's like, yeah, she's dead. Okay, who's dead? Is the mother dead? No, his wife is dead. Okay. So his wife is dead. So the both of them were taking care of the granddaughter for all this time. Movie has to explain why. But yeah, with Arthouse, we wait. That's fine. We'll wait for it. And then what do you do? So there's the other grandmother who says no. Now it's just you by yourself. So now we have a theme of single parenthood, which is very deep in this film, and I don't think any of the press releases have talked about single parenthood. Which is really the big problem in this movie, is he needs to do this by himself. He hasn't been taking care of the girl. He's been bringing in the bacon because he's a baby boomer. So that's what he does. What he did for his daughter, and now he's doing it for his granddaughter. Just bring in the bacon, or, vegetarian, whatever is your thing. And take care of the household while his wife took care of the kid. So the first thing that happens is that he wakes up and she's like, "Where's Grandma? No, she's not here." It takes him a little while to tell her. Needs to get her to school, and she's like, "Here's my brush. I've got a brush here." It's like, "Here's my brush. Do my hair." And it's like, "What?" Doing frizzy hair is not easy.
And you can't not do it for the frizzy hair.
You also cannot not do it. Frizzy hair takes a lot of time and effort and skill. So dads who don't have that kind of hair need to learn how to do their daughter's hair. And they take classes to do so. At least in the Netherlands they do. So he's like... and he's like, "Is this every day?" She's going, yeah, every day. Yeah. So it's... Yeah, you get dueling grandparents, effectively. And then he's white, she's black. But by that time, other than frizzy hair, the big issue in my mind is not whether what colors people are or what social status they have. It is about custody. Who is going to take care of this little girl? It's about family. It's about how are we going to make a good life for this girl who's not only lost her mother, who's dead from the moment she died in childbirth. Doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. But not often. But okay, exceptional situation. The father couldn't cope, was probably also very young. Oh, the mother turns out was 17. And then the father was 23, couldn't cope, ran away. And so the grandparents just said, "Here's the kid." But the other grandparents would have been there as well, except that they were... This set of grandparents were the parents of the girl. And clearly they never married, so the Eloise, the granddaughter, has their name. Okay, so naturally they take the kid, and assuming legally have custody, and the other grandmother did not dispute it at that time. But now his wife is dead. Elliott, you've got Elliott is Kevin Costner's name, and you got Eloise for the granddaughter's name. So, and then you got Rowena is the other grandmother, and lives. So he's a lawyer. He lives uptown. Rowena is a real estate broker. She lives downtown. Whatever downtown means, but basically a completely different neighborhood. And different social status. Loads of people in that house. Whereas Elliott, he doesn't have anybody. He has his housekeeper. And then as soon as he realizes he needs to actually help the kid with homework, which is just maths, he's like, "I'm a lawyer. Sorry, I don't do numbers." Like, okay. I'm not sure lawyers don't do numbers. I think lawyers do numbers. I think the writer thinks lawyers don't do numbers. And hires a tutor. Now that's fantastic. The tutor is so good. What's his name? Mpho Koaho. I'm trying my best. Plays Duvan, the the tutor, and he's good at everything. He's also first generation immigrant from somewhere, very black, and super high achieving. So he can tutor everybody in anything they possibly want and more. So now they're both taking math lessons from him.
Can he do hair?
No, I don't think they asked him to do the hair. Elliott learns how to do the hair. What I noticed is at no time does he ask the housekeeper to take care of Eloise. That doesn't seem to be in anybody's thought. The housekeeper, I think, is Mexican or something like that. She cooks, she cleans, she's always there. And maybe babysits a little, but other than being in the house, is not really. The kids in a very, very nice school, obviously, because they live in a very, very nice area, and he would like to keep it that way. And then, of course, then you've got the custody battle. So the other side of the coin is Octavia Spenser as Rowena. She's like, this guy. Yeah, if it was two of them, fine, but not this guy alone. So she has this like chicken coop of big house of so many people. There's always people there. So babysitting would not be a problem. Tutoring would not be a problem because half the people are of age that they're in school themselves. And like every age is there. And it's just life, whereas at Elliott's places there's not. Then there is, so it would be perfectly fine to say, okay, the kid's going to live there, but you would rip a 7-year-old out of her life. And that's not really, it's only addressed once in the movie by Elliott when he asks Eloise, would you consider doing that? What would your life look like? And Eloise is like, No, I live here. This is my life. I don't want to do that. You can't just rip a kid out of her life. And she's already had her mother dying. Her father's never there. And now her grandma died. And then you're also going to rip her out of her life. Which is, like in Kramer versus Kramer, the judge also didn't take that into account. But the parents did, eventually. I think that this one of the interesting things about the law case was of the custody suit is that the moment they're there, the judge asks them both, is like, you do know that there is a third option if you go through with the custody suit. And I liked that they put that in there because you can't. Things have consequences. If you're going to say we're going to go to court for the custody, the court can also say you are both unfit to deal with this kid, and it's going into foster care. So it's very dangerous, and I like that they put that in there. The judge was great. There was a lot of drugs and drinking in this film. So Eloise's deadbeat dad, Reggie, is a junkie. There is a crack house across the street from Rowena's place. So you know that is never going to... If he's going to live there and he's going to take Eloise to live with them, he's exposed to, across the street, they're dealing... You can't do that with a junkie. He cannot be anywhere near that. Ex-junkie, hopefully. He says so, but we know that it's not true. But at the same... So that's being vilified a lot. And they even call it a walking cliche. It's a good thing that they called that out, because I was like, but you're saying, all black deadbeat dads are junkies. There's plenty of white deadbeat dads who might be junkies. I don't know. But at the same time, Elliott is drinking because he just lost his wife, and he's having to take care of this kid, and he's looking at maybe he's going to lose this kid. And that drinking, I thought, was quite extreme. I don't know that the film thought it was that extreme.
The Costner character.
Elliott. Yeah. 60-something-year-old, or not even, maybe 60, high end in his law firm. He had all the advantages. There are the cliches in this film, but for a good reason. He had all the advantages of being a white guy in the baby boom era. He had good education. He could build up wealth. He could make his family, and then he could, he has servants in his house, and paid, maybe live-in servants. And that's a good life, but he's not independently wealthy. They do establish that. So he's like what we'd call an everyday millionaire. He probably is, his house is probably worth $1 million, and if you sold everything off and you fired everybody, he's probably got another $1 million, but that doesn't mean that he has endless money to spend every single day. He can't, the tutor, for instance, he can't keep on. He's keeping him on effectively full time during the course of this film. And then it comes up in court and it's like, yeah, but you're going to have to go back to work at some point, and you're going to have to, you won't be able to afford a full-time tutor. Because the tutor was also driving around because he was drinking so much that he was either too hungover to drive her, or he was just basically too drunk to drive. And I was like, this is not okay for this little girl to be around. So now her dad is a drug addict, and her granddad that she lives with is effectively an alcoholic. So what is this?
But the other grandma has a house too full of people, so the girl really can't go there either. I mean, she'd take her, but it wouldn't be great.
And she would be fed, and she would be loved, and she would be clothed, and she would be able to get to school, but she would have a lot of hands on her, and she would not be with the people that she has been for her entire life. And that would be Elliott and the housekeeper, because you can't tell me that person would not be a person in her life. Just because she's a housekeeper doesn't mean that she doesn't exist. She's there every single day in the house. So movie didn't address that either. So both Eloise's grandfather Elliott and her father Reggie lie about drugs and drinking. And so if you lie about it to a child, and the child is 7, and you've been lying about it basically your whole life, her whole life, is what has she learned? So that I have an issue with that. And the Reggie part is taken care of in court. It comes up in court, and they and then later he also admits, and he's like, okay, no, I'm an unfit father. Which is, everybody rises to the occasion at the end. However, for Elliott, our cis white male boomer, most privileged person in the entire film, he doesn't. He first, his colleague says, yeah, I asked my alcoholic buddy and AA buddy, it's like, this is how your drinking is, because he's doing the court case for Elliott, and he's trying to get him to stop drinking. And he said, yeah, my buddy says you're probably just a rage drinker and not an alcoholic. And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting a rude gesture from the peanut gallery here. It's like, sorry, you wouldn't have said that about Reggie. He has plenty to be delving into drugs and drinking, or whatever the choice of that is with his girlfriend died in childbirth with his baby. Now the baby's alive. He was unable to take care of the baby afterwards. Who knows what kind of bad stuff went down before that for him, because he doesn't live this privileged life. And we were like, yeah, he's a deadbeat dad. But Elliott, he's only a functional rage drinker. No, he's an alcoholic. Sorry. Let's be honest. And also, it's like, yeah, but alcohol is not so bad. If you do crack, that's bad. Or cocaine, that's bad. Alcohol's not bad. No, it is bad if literally all he does is drink. In the morning he gets up and drinks. At one point the housekeeper has hidden away all the liquor, and he just rampages the house and gets it out from one more stash that he got it he had put it in, and then you know that's an alcoholic when he has stashes in places that nobody will look. It was like under the sink, not where things are, but literally you crawl under the sink, you look up, and there was another bottle of something heavy. That is an alcoholic. So with all of that, he still gets because it's in the end it's uncontested. There's meeting of the minds. One of the really good moments in this movie is when family, all the family of Rowena, who's taking care of apparently some cousins, some nieces, nephews, and all sorts of stuff, and Elliott has kept saying, "You can come over anytime to see Eloise. You cannot come over to use my pool." He has a pool. Because he's a baby boomer with lots of money and he's a lawyer, so he has a pool. Living in California. And then one day they do. And that's when I thought, that's the answer. The answer is the family has to come together for this girl. They have to become a family. Family doesn't always live in one place. We are not Dallas and Dynasty. Most people are not Dallas and Dynasty.
Even in Dallas and Dynasty, they live together.
Yeah, not all of them. And so you see each other. You let each other use your stuff. That's what family does. You come together. Come over for the weekend. Everybody uses the pool, or the day, because it's all within the same city. He comes over to their place and they're jamming. They're doing like this cool jamming session. And Eloise by that point has piano lessons from her tutor, so now she can jam with piano. She's only 7. It's absolutely adorable little girl that they got for it. So this is the answer, and I think this is the point of the movie. So first I was thinking, where's the racism in this movie? Yeah, okay, it's being bandied about as words a couple of times, and there's a nice little speech which I know all white Americans will think is the pivotal point of this movie, is that Elliott says, "It is not the first thought I have when I see the black man. It is the second thought and the third thought that I have. That's important." And the first thought is, of course, cultural bias and is his entire backlog of what his being a baby booming white guy in America. That's his first thought. Is like, ooh, danger or whatever. Whatever the first thought is of such a guy. The second thought may be, well, okay, he's the father of my child. My grandchild. That's a better thought. And then there is like, okay, and there's an extended family and my grandchild needs to have. But isn't the more important thing, I'm sorry to be so holier than thou, but doesn't it matter at all what the first and second or third thought is? It doesn't matter. What matters is the actions that he takes. If he thinks, oh my god, there's a black guy. Okay, so he thinks that. As long as he doesn't say it to the, it's like you can't stop people from thinking what they think. But if his action is, okay, you're the father of my grandchild. Let's see how we can make this work. Because that's not what he did. What he did was he gave him money, number one. When Reggie comes in, he asks for money. Okay, he gives him money. He says, but you have to see Eloise, because Eloise needs to see her dad. Guy does not show up, which is like conform to the deadbeat dad thing. And later shows up on the pool party, and then explains how scared he is, because he was asked to come for a formal dinner with the kid. It's like too much pressure. This guy is hanging on by his teeth. Nobody seems to understand that. And Rowena understands a little bit. I mean, it's her son, and she has so much love for him, but she also sees he needs to get clean, and he needs to stop lying. Otherwise, he's not going to get access to Eloise. And then the next thing is, no, Elliott hasn't learned. He offers him 25,000 to just go away. And that comes up in court. So, yeah.
Is it that the film is trying to portray that quite accurately that white people are not the best and black people are not the worst, and that's why they make Elliott drink a little bit too much, offer the money at the wrong moment?
Yes, I think that is the point of the movie. So the point of the movie is in fact race, but it is done through a family story, and it is more to tell the audience, look, these are people. Everyone's a person and everybody can make mistakes and everybody is only as good as their environment has made them, plus whatever they bring themselves to it. And they all are going to have to rise to the occasion for this little girl if they want to be part of her life. Elliott could also have just dumped the girl in Rowena's lap and gone away. And then that would have been a big trauma for Eloise. But she's already traumatized. It's amazing how well she's doing, considering all that.
He could have also taken her and moved to Florida.
Yes, I think so. And he can, at the end of the movie, he gets custody over her because the Rowena and Reggie pull out. And they're saying, no, she's okay. Rowena was genuinely afraid that he wouldn't be able to take care of her. And I think that is a legitimate thought, because now we're talking back to something I mentioned earlier, single parenting. He is a single parent, and he's going to have to make the money to get the tutors and to be off work to get her in and out of school, or have somebody else drive her, and then you're going to need childcare.
And stop drinking.
She's only... Yes, and stop drinking. But he does... It's implied that he checks into a rehab for a few weeks at the end of the movie, after the end of the movie, and brings Eloise to her grandmother to... and that's where the movie ends. So everybody's going to work on stuff. So it is definitely, everybody's trying their best at the end, and yeah, so much. My problem with, because this is a fantastic story to tell and people should see it. My problem with the PR or the marketing of it is that you look at the trailer and you think, oh, it's a fun movie, because they put out the little few things where you go, oh, okay, yeah, that's fun. Like everybody arrives for the pool party and he's only got one sock on because he's like, what's happening? And that's great. But if you wanted it to make it a fun movie, then the rest of it should be like that as well, and it is not. I did not have haha moments at any time. Apparently there are haha moments. I'm usually the wrong person to to judge that, because I'm just looking at like, what's everybody doing and why? So yeah, I think that the title implies it's about race, black or white, but then it's about family, but then deep down there is a race issue, and the fact that it's about family is actually a good point about the race issue, is that everybody's a person, and that is a race issue. Namely, it's you're still talking about people, but it didn't figure that terribly in the story, other than what lawyers were trying to use and how people were growing up with prejudices towards that other side. So I don't know if the marketing did it a disfavor.
So they're marketing it as a rom-com or
not a rom-com, but as a fun bit of
family romp. Yeah,
a bit of frolic with some, hey, look at this, he's got a black grandchild. No, he's got a grandchild. If this movie had no race in it, no, like everybody was the same color, whichever color that was, wouldn't have changed much about this movie. You still have, he's rich, they're poor, he's by himself. He's left with just holding the baby, literally. And he's a single parent, and they have this big family that could easily take it in. It's just like, why not bring the kid over here? That's the story.
Is the film making the point that you think that the film is trying to make? Are they making that point at all?
Maybe for Americans. I don't know.
Yeah, not American. No.
I'm not American. And I really enjoyed this movie, and I would like more people to see it, but it would have to be marketed as what it is, namely a family drama about custody over a child that is wrought with so many problems on all sides.
Is it a good movie at all?
Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Sit down, really, watch it. Don't constantly run off to something else. You don't want commercial breaks. You just want to sit and watch this movie. And it is in line with like the traditional TV movie from at least 70s onwards that had like, now we're going to talk about, real life drama. And but also cinematographically it is actually very pretty. Every time there's a shot, it's pretty, so you can tell that they really had good director, good camera, good color, good everything looks good. So that's one step up from your old TV drama. However, nowadays for TV they make this stuff, and I don't know if you could do for a TV budget. I don't know what the TV budget would be. 9 million is not.
That would be the TV budget, I think.
Yeah, it's certainly not a major motion picture budget. Apparently, Kevin Costner got this script, and it was written for him. And he says no to a lot of scripts, and he said yes to this one. And then he said, "Yeah, I think I can have somebody make this." And he's like, "No, nobody wants to make this." So he made it himself, and that's true to Kevin Costner's style. He did that with Dances with Wolves, and that was definitely on a shoestring budget, considering what it was. And this doesn't have the grandeur of anything like that.
The subject doesn't have the grandeur.
No. Could have if you had made it a period piece, but it's all in the here and now, and so it's if you like really good Hallmark dramas, if you like good slice of life dramas, you like to know how people do things, and family dramas, this is a very, very good one. Definitely go watch it. So that is my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.